Folks, I have said in the past that Donald Trump is a racist. And I have backed those comments up by pointing out to you the things that he has done in his past and the fact that his father was a Klan member. And that's documented. If you had a problem or didn't believe me when I said that in the past, there should be no doubt whatsoever in your mind after listening to the comments that Donald Trump made earlier this afternoon regarding the white supremacists, the white nationalists, the KKK, etc. Donald Trump basically was trying to equivocate the positions of both the alt-right and the Antifa associated people. Let me break this down for you as easily as I can. Donald Trump said that there are or were good people within the ranks of both groups. And that couldn't be further from the truth. One group of people was advocating hate against everybody else other than white men. The other group was advocating resistance or opposition to everything that the first group stood for. So, in simple terms, one group was advocating hate against blacks and Jews, and one group was advocating non-hatred towards blacks and Jews. Now, to give you the proper analogy, Donald Trump basically was saying that it was wrong for there to be violence on both sides. And in a utopian world, he is correct. But this is not a utopian world. This is the real world. And when fascists, racists, misogynists, people who do not cling to the values of quote-unquote normal society stand up and make a statement, it takes people of good conscience to stand up to resist them, to make a statement that they are wrong. Now, let me ask you a question. And this one is basically a no-brainer. If it was wrong for the anti-white supremacist people to fight against the racist, white supremacist, alt-right, whatever the hell you want to call them people, the neo-Nazis as well. If that was wrong, then was it wrong for America to fight against the Nazis during World War II? Both guys on the right, quote unquote, are Nazis, but somehow the country believed that they were wrong and committed troops into a war to fight against them. Well, you say that's a war. Well, I'm here to tell you that this is a war as well. Not a declared war, not a war between different countries. This is a war of ideologies. And the ideologies of the right cannot suffer the existence of anything other than their own agendas. So anybody who believes that all people are equal, that's whites, blacks, Jews, Gentiles, men, women, gay, straight, etc. If they believe that they don't have the right to exist because they quote murder and mayhem against anybody not within the group of white males, basically, and you disagree, which places you in the other camp, what are you supposed to do? Now, Donald Trump made all kinds of excuses for the white supremacists, the neo-Nazis, the Klan, the white nationalists. He made all kinds of excuses. He said there were good people in both groups. I'm here to tell you that there were not good people in both groups. The majority, not all, but the majority of the good people were in the group that was fighting against the alt-right group. Now that alt-right group, i.e. Unite the Right, which brought together all kinds of right-wing groups, they were there, quote unquote, because they didn't want a statue of Robert E. Lee, who was obviously a very famous Confederate general who was fighting to maintain slavery in America, who was fighting to have the southern states secede from the United States, who had fought to maintain slavery in his own family where his father-in-law, on his deathbed, in his will, had signed off on freeing all of his slaves. And General Lee went to court to invalidate the will. I wish to God that Ulysses S. Grant, who was also a general, but in the Union Army, had not gone to the president at that time and threatened to resign his commission as the leader of the Union Army unless that president gave a pass to Robert E. Lee and didn't prosecute him for treason, which obviously he was guilty of. You talk about your white privilege. Grant and Lee were classmates at West Point, and they were friends before all of the hostilities broke out. I guess that friendship transcended treason as far as this country was concerned. But you let that be the case today, and whomever perpetrated treason against the country would be hung from the yardarms. I cannot understand how Donald Trump, who has Jewish people in his family, his son-in-law, his daughter, his grandson, they're Jewish. Yet this guy can make excuses for Nazis walking our streets. Oh, there's some good people that are Nazis. No, I don't think so. If you were part of that alt-right, Unite the Right march on Saturday, or that demonstration on Friday night where they held hostage people in a church that were there praying, if you can believe that good people did that, then I guess we got nothing else to say. Hopefully, it's just a question of time before this man gets impeached. Now, I don't know if things are going to get any better because Mike Pence is a piece of work as well. And things could get worse because he's buddy-buddy with Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, so they might be able to get a bunch of crap through a lot easier than Donald Trump, merely because they are all friends. And white privilege will kick in to the highest degree at that point. But that is conjecture. Right now we know what we have. And we know what we have is a racist in the White House. Now, if you go back to Saturday, the comments that he gave Saturday were written for him by more than likely Stephen Miller or Steve Bannon. And they were tepid comments, to say the least. Now, he came back in on Monday and issued or said some of the magic words. Those words being white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and KKK, Ku Klux Klan. Those were the three magic words that people were waiting to hear his condemnation of. But if you notice, he never called anyone, especially that driver who killed that woman, he never used the words white supremacist terrorism. Never, those words never came past his lips. But yet and still he had no problem when the same thing occurred in Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, immediately screaming to the high heavens, radical Islamic terrorism. All of the acts involve the usage of a car. All of the acts cause the death of citizens. They're all acts of terrorism. Yet, for whatever reason, Mr. Trump found it impossible to string the words radical white supremacist terrorism together for the country to hear. Now, I don't know where this is going, but I'm here to tell you that if the Republican leadership doesn't grow a pair, if they are so all in on merely having a Republican president who does not have the moral fiber, does not command the moral fortitude to lead this country, then, folks, it is what it is. All I can tell you at this point is, this is his third bite at the apple. The first one, he chomped on. The second one, he choked on. And the third one, he probably should have asphyxiated on. I have seen the people on CNN talk about this, and they're of a like mind. Both Republicans and non-Republicans. On MSNBC, they're of a like mind. Fox is in a whole completely different universe. They were basically attacking the media, claiming that his comments were fine. There was nothing wrong with his comments, and that the media, all they wanted to do was attack him. No, it wasn't a question of, excuse me, attacking him. It was a question of attacking his positions on neo-Nazis, Klan members, and their ideologies. That's where the attack was. The majority of America does not side with those people, has values that are in direct opposition to those people. Yet Donald Trump was concentrating on, I'm not even going to say his entire base, I'm going to say it's a fraction of his base that holds those alt-right ideologies to heart. When is it a bridge too far? When do people of good conscience finally stand up and say enough is enough? I hope we have some Republican leadership that can take that position, but thus far, even with the various condemnations, I'm not feeling it. I saw the comments by Paul Ryan, which didn't even call the president out by name. Mitch McConnell hasn't said a damn word. John McCain, who is dying, who this man attacked earlier, has been pretty forceful. But it's time, folks. It's time for everybody to get together. It's time for McConnell and Ryan to get together, to walk into the White House and tell this man he is done. He is on a leash, and nothing will be done until he gets his act together. But again, I'm not really holding out a lot of hope. But this man, via his own words, the first time a mealy-mouthed speech written, more than likely again by Steve Miller or Bannon. The second time, a stronger speech, probably written by other White House staff. But the third time, that was no speech, folks. That was this man revealing what was in his heart publicly, because it's been revealed that he has those same thoughts privately, and the White House staff was appalled and taken aback by the fact that though he had said the same things privately, that he was stupid enough to say the same things publicly. I just hope he's done. I guess we'll see.